Alright, welcome to Kerbal Space Program 1.8.1. I was just watching TV over here. Let me turn that off. Otherwise I'll get a copyright strike if I go too deep. Okay, so this should be a short one. I've built this craft right here, never mind the wings. I just put those on for fun. Primarily, let's just go. I'll explain it why we're there. So this isn't actually meant to fly yet. It may never, but I actually have had ones that do, that are shaped similar. Let me try to get my color right. Yeah, that's probably the most natural color for me. We could do this. Woo! That would be good training. Let's try this. And hopefully this won't bother your brain too much. But what this is sensitivity training, and I'm conditioning myself to flashing lights in my face to where they don't actually bother me or make me feel uncomfortable. It's sensitivity training, conditioning, and when you okay, so let's go over everything real quick. What we have is we have all these little mini biomes. Okay, oh good, it steers. Mini biomes, and one of them would be the runway, another one would be the space airplane hangar and spaceplane hangar, vehicle assembly building, research and development, Kerbal Kerbonaut complex, administration, mission control, communications array, observation communications. Anyway, so all these are individual biomes, plus we have the ones like the mountains, the grasslands, the highlands. This one is actually inside the aprons called Kerbal Space Complex. So let's just do the runway right now. And we observe the material bay. And we'll keep that. That's wonderful. Alright, so we may have already done this earlier. And I'm going to check anyway. Log pressure data. No, we have not. Log temperature. No, we have not. Okay, I was totally wrong. I thought we had done that. Let's go ahead and get the mystery goo. Keep that. You know, we can do a crew report too, right? And we can do an EVA. EVA report. Alright, so since I brought the scientist, I can collect data. Remove data. Restore. Now, alright, I had to board so I could steer back onto the runway. We're just actually doing the gravity roll now. We haven't even engaged any engines. Alright, so I did all the experiments available, and the one thing we have to realize, and let me check my battery, 150, is that the crew report we can have only one. So we need to transmit that right now. And look, that knocks our battery down pretty good. Looks like it knocked more than 50 out of it, about 60, just to transmit one crew report. But everything else can be stored in this capsule until later. Or we can even, this is to hold science, we can collect all the data up here. Now that collect all button, I'll have to double check that. That maybe it means I need to go back out. So let me go back out. I'm actually going to collect the data from the goo report. I must have been falling off the runway, and restore that at the same time. So now all our experiments are reset. So let's go ahead and test the craft. I can see I have to reverse the steering because I'm hitting the button that's going opposite of what it feels like it should. Alright, it actually does pick up speed. Ooh, likes to rock too. I bet if I try to go downhill it'll crash. I'm going to pick up one more set of experiments. Actually, we could pick up until we run out of electricity. If it was daylight, we would just be recharging our batteries. But we're at this point, we're limited to the crew report. So here I am rolling down the runway at 7.8 meters per second. And I'm going to start this slow turn. And I know there's a little bump here. Boom. Alright, so that was no good. Oh, okay. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do is just put the brake on and recover the vessel and demonstrate how much science we can retrieve from just one biome location within the Kerbal Space Program. Looks like 18.9, 10, 12, 8, 25, and 8. Not to mention we already transmitted the 1.5 crew report, so let's just say for easy math, approximately 20. Alright, and then one thing I can do is go instantly here. And then we also have other locations like the desert airfield. Let me just reverse the steering real quick. Alright. If it were possible, and it probably is, I'd want to take this and just kind of move it up a little bit. Get it a little bit off the ground now. That could have also been achieved by lowering the wheels. But that should help quite a bit. So let's try that. We'll save it. And launching to the desert airfield. Alright, time check 8:09. Anyway, I don't know if you remember, but last time we went to get into the orbit of the moon and we had a lot of trouble because we just didn't quite have the technology to get where we wanted to be. Of course, we're going to keep that. We're also going to do our crew report. And I'm going to transmit that immediately. And also log my pressure data, my temperature, and my goo. Now the goo, what happens is we expose it in an atmosphere and it collapses. And I think what we're trying to read is some type of strength of gravity. I have no idea. It's based on an experiment that astronauts would attempt to run. So I'm going to collect data. Remove. Collect data. Remove. Collect data. Take data. Take data. Restore. Restore. Let's not forget the EVA report. And oh look, we can take a surface sample too. Let's not forget our surface samples. I had forgotten that we could take those. So anyway, not only have we taken all the science, but we have Anyway, we've taken all the science off the desert airfield runway. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to go into the desert and collect that science. And what this does is it really gives us a jump when we get new technology, so we can have greater control or better rockets or more fuel efficiency or bigger gas tanks and bigger engines is what I want. Alright, so might as well just put on the brakes. Alright, I'm going to remove the landing gear just for fun. Now we're resting very solidly. Almost like a land base. Alright, observe. Observe. Log. Log. Crew report. I remembered to I can only keep one crew report per vessel. I might be able to take crew reports, store it here, and store one here and store one here. Don't hold me to that. But if I know if I have two vessels attached to each other, I can have one for each vessel. But what I want to do now is get my EVA report and my surface sample. And I don't need to collect and reset this stuff, so I'll just board because I'm basically coming to recover my vessel. Alright, time check 12 minutes. See, so once I've built the craft, I'm starting to accumulate science. And I'm already up to 106. That'll buy me one thing. So let's do it again. Alright, this time we want to launch from our normal airfield. We've been here before, so there's really nothing to do. Alright, so I'm going to turn the gas on. Looks like the sun's coming up. I can leave the lights off. Now let's go ahead and turn them back on. I didn't get to talk about that earlier. So anyway, we have green on the right, red on the left, and white in the back. That's your standard aircraft configuration. Actually, if this was an aircraft, they'd probably make us change the color of this light. And these probably could not be red. They would have to be white. Just because that's the rule. Red, green, white. That's the aircraft rule. Green on the right, red on the left. And that's pilot forward centric direction. Alright, so now I can actually gas the craft. Let's see if it survives this transit here. Pretty good speed. Oh, that's nice. And then I'm gonna, while I'm rolling, I can do this stuff. Crew report. Transmit. Alright, so now he's on an EVA. I have no control. Remove. Restore. collect, restore, take, EVA, surface sample. Boy, that was a quick scoop, wasn't it? And board. Okay, so this is the administrative center. Oh, I'm gonna get my gas to get me up that hill. Oh yes. And put on the brakes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, what we want to do is see if we're powerful enough to roll. Nope, we're not. So basically we've goofed, and we'll just take our experiments and then bug out of here. Mystery Go. Keep. I mean, Material Bay. Mystery Go. Sometimes we call that Material Bay a service bay. And you'll see some missions, it's named a Material Bay as a part, but then the mission calls it a service bay. And that's a carryover from way back when we just changed the name to it, but somehow instead of having a permanent adherence to the name change, it just, now we just have a dual name and we have a slang term, which is actually the correct ancient term. Which is interesting, as language developed, our Kerbalisms have developed also in the same manner. It's almost like we can't help ourselves as human beings, and we definitely can't correct ancient traditions instantly. And I think that's a wonderful amalganism and parallel to real life. After all, this is a physics reality simulator. Let me go ahead and board. Now, since we tipped it over, if we didn't tip it over, and here comes the sunlight, and we could recharge our batteries, we could essentially take this scientist and just keep collecting science in every biome till it's there. I mean, till it's no longer there. But we're just going to recover our vessel. Wow, look, we want to get back quick because it looks like we're in the middle of an eclipse. I just saw that coming over the top of the building. So we're going to collect this science. Looks like 53 earned. Right now we have 165, so we're pretty close to buying 2 things. So let's go ahead and get out there and see if we can see the eclipse. Launch, it was a good position. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a graphics glitch, or I just did not see something correctly coming over the top of that building. But I got excited. Nope, it's an eclipse. Guaranteed, folks. I'll show you. Go to the map, and between me and the sun will be the moon. See that? Right there, the moon in the middle of the sun. As it comes up on the Kerbal horizon. So, eclipses are pretty cool. On Earth, they're rare, but in space, they happen to us all the time, and we can even manipulate them and line them up. I mean, you know, when you're not fixed on a point of a rotating body, on the surface of a rotating body, and you actually are a rotating body, then things become I don't know what I'm trying to say. More interesting? Or more common? Celestial occurrences are more common when you are part of the Celesti rather than an ant. Like it's you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, but once you're in space and you're orbiting around a body, which is what the moon does, and you are around the main planetary body like Kerbin, and then there's a faraway body like the sun and a near-away satellite that you're competing with like the moon. You're not actually competing with it, but you're there, you're in its environment with it. Then you can actually just kind of watch the, time the eclipses daily, or steer into one, if you're not at the right angle. So anyway, I'm not resisting this roll. I'm going to activate that engine so I can, I just want to give it a little gas, and then I'm going to deactivate it. Anyway, what I'm doing now is just sitting here enjoying the eclipse. I'm going to turn my lights off, and then I'm going to turn these lights off. Those are my driving spots, and it looks like I've dropped my power usage way down. Go ahead and turn these lights off. These are my runway lights. So now my electrical usage is way down. You can see we're starting to come out of the eclipse. Alright, I've curbed my electrical usage to almost nothing. And what I'm attempting to do now is see how it impacts my solar panels. It looks like it's blocked by the moon. That's a definite indicator that it's an eclipse. Is my solar panels giving me a reading that says the moon? Anyway, 22 minutes, and all I'm doing is trying to roll up to the spaceplane hangar. I lost my canister when I tried this earlier, but now that the sun's out and our solar panels work, I can just drive around here and collect resource like 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20. And I think I've already collected up there, and possibly another 20. Alright, so as soon as you're here, you can start taking the readings. If you're going to travel to it too fast, see spaceplane hangar, what you should do is put on the brakes. But if you can get them all SPH readings, you're good. And then crew report, just go ahead and transmit it. EVA, soil sample, and then start collecting and resetting. Alright, now he boards. That was the spaceplane hangar. And then I should put on my brakes here. Just like that. And see where we're at. And you can just do that by taking a reading. Nope. I don't want that because I just did that. Alright, turning on my engines, give it a little gas, and turn hard. Alright, it looks like I am on the crawler way for the spaceplane hangar on the spaceplane hangar grounds. And right ahead of me is the astronaut complex and the administrative building ahead. I think I already got the administrative building. So I'm going to try to turn up onto this crawler way. And then as soon as you're ready, you can just kind of try to figure it out. I saw the dip. Log temperature. Looks like astronaut complex breaks. And all I'm doing is the rinse and repeat. Go through all the same steps again. Now the one thing I need is 50 in juice before I can transmit the crew report. So we'll just go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the brakes. Everything's reset, so I should be able to advance. Now there's a reason that I'm not going to the vehicle assembly building, and I'm going to try to come over here to research. And that's because I'd like to get the vehicle assembly building, the crawler way, and this communications, observation, radio telescope center. So I'm going to roll over here to research and development. Now this is really good because after you run this mission, you get what we call a spectral view. I mean, you'll start flying over this, and when you fly over this, it's going to look small when you look down, but you'll be able to have a perspective of how big it really is from ground level. So, I mean, when we fly 1,000 feet over it, it's one thing. 5,000 feet's another, and when you're flying to another planet, that's even another. So I'm just going to roll through here and do my experiments. I'm going to keep this and check my batteries later. Now I got to do my EVA report. And I'm going to do my report first so I don't forget. Alright, I hope I don't hit this building. I'm going to trust I'm not going to. And just start collecting my science. How'd I know? I guess I can reset these experiments. It's kind of like I'm the scientist, so I know how to restore it. Hit the reset button, no one else knows how.